It's been a mixed week for Boro at Ewood Park this week. Early in the week, the players came in for training, feeling a little bit down to say the least after the drubbing in the hands of Chelsea. You spend the weekend moping and worrying and thinking about things like that, and it still carries on into early in the week. But the great thing is that Gareth Southgate and his coaches have worked very hard to make sure that the players put it behind them. You've got to put it behind you because the next match offers 3 points, and you can't, if you start worrying about what's gone on before, you aren't going to make progress. I think it's been, from what I can gather, it's been a good progressive week. Started slowly, built up quite well. One thing they've done is they did early in the week, they went through the match. All the players had to sit and watch the horror show on video, and Southgate and his coaches went to some lengths to point out what went wrong and what they had to do to put things right. And since then, they've been working on more positive things. Aspects of the play that quite clearly they can improve on, building up generally, working on moves, and the real idea is to get a good buzz coming back within the squad in the dressing room. And talking to Manuel Pogatetz, as I did during the week, I mean, the skipper's back at Blackburn on Saturday, and he's very upbeat about the prospects and the future. And the general feeling, I think, if he is a judge, is that it was a one-off game. You don't play Chelsea every week, you don't play anybody like Chelsea, the calibre of Chelsea every week, and that there are a lot of nitty-gritty games, 2 leagues within a league really, the Premier League now, and the way to make progress is to be picking up points against the sides that you might regard as equal to yourselves, off the same level. And I think in general, looking at the way that the players are leaving the ground with it, with a smile on their faces again, I think that the mood has improved dramatically, and I think that the squad is fully focused again. We have to wait and see what the team's going to be against Blackburn, but obviously we know that Manuel Pogatetz will return to the defence. With that in mind, you assume that if one of the centre-backs has to move rather than be dropped, then Wheater is the one probably who would switch out to the right flank again. He's done probably better there than people might have expected. I know that Gareth Southgate and 1 or 2 others have said he's not necessarily a natural right back. He's not a full back type. But having said that, in certain circumstances, and possibly a lot of circumstances, he can quite admirably fulfil the role. And with Justin Hoyt unlikely to be back, although he does have a slim chance, I understand, it's more likely that Wheater would switch out to the right, which would still give plenty of balance in the back four and plenty of experience. And one would assume much better equipped to cope with Blackburn than they were with Chelsea. Elsewhere in the team, obviously, there's the midfield was overwhelmed against Chelsea, and I think it's probably time for Didier Degarde to make his debut. He did play a couple of games early on, but was left off. And what the Frenchman probably needs is a run in the side, and he hasn't had the chance to have that yet. I was one, and there probably were others who thought that when Degarde was signed he was going to be a defensive midfielder. That's not turned out to be the case. He's always looking to probe, make things happen. That's not a bad thing in a midfielder, but we do have that in Gary O'Neill as well. And if those 2 players were to play in the middle of the defence and Sharkey didn't, we would be going into the team without a holding midfielder. Not many teams in the Premier League do that, but certainly it would be a signal for an adventurous approach, and Boro would have little chance but to attack Blackburn. They do have a habit of playing well at Ewood Park, and not necessarily with getting the right result. Last season, for example, they led 1-0 for a long spell. Could have been 2 or 3 goals up quite comfortably before the end of the game, but couldn't add to the early goal, and in the end Derbyshire got the equaliser, and they ended up with only a point when it should have been 3. With plenty of attacking players on the side, they're quite capable of stepping up on that, but it's a case of getting the balance right. Gareth Southgate, I think, probably didn't get the balance right against Chelsea, and that was one of the problems that added to their misfortunes. While I would hope that Igard starts, I think the biggest thing for the team is that Afonso Alves comes back. He was dropped to the bench against Chelsea. He could not complain about that because he hasn't been scoring goals. But at the end of the day, he's been brought into the team, into the squad to score goals. They know from watching him every day in training that he is a finisher. And that's something that the team doesn't have at the moment. He can't go on forever missing gilt-edged chances, and I think it makes sense to bring him back and have a good go at it on Saturday. We must have Alves in the team because he's the guy above all others who can score the team the goals they need. Such a bad result against Chelsea, but then they were expected by many people to lose in any case. Now they are going to a Blackburn side, slightly higher up the league table, that's true, but not necessarily any better. Blackburn did start the season quite poorly. They have picked up a bit recently. Got a battling point at Bolton last week when I'm told they should have had 3, but for a glaring miss by Jason Roberts. They're probably in a good mood and they look at this game as offering them 3 points, but then the same applies to Boro. They put the bad feelings behind them, they put the disappointments of the Chelsea game to rest, and now they should go into this game with self-belief and confidence. Our last game produced 3 points away from home. Battling performance at Wigan, another repeat of that, then they've got to have a chance. I do believe that Boro will actually attack much more than they did at Wigan, and there again that's a greater opportunity to score more goals. I'm quite upbeat about it. I sense that they are in the dressing room of the Boro, and providing they don't do anything stupid, providing they do defend well, think sensibly, play for each other, I can't see any reason why we can't go there with every chance. A draw wouldn't be a bad result, but then there are 3 points at stake, and I know that Gareth Southgate will want to come back with all 3. His policy will be to go out and attack. Good luck, Boro. I think they can do it.